Today, we are taking a journey all across Japan, from its frozen wild north to its sun-drenched tropical south. But hey, this isn't just some travel show. We're gonna dig in and explore how the land itself, the mountains, the plains, the seas, has literally forged this nation's people, its culture, and really its entire destiny. So what makes Japan, Japan? Is it the crazy advanced technology? The ancient, beautiful traditions? The art that everyone knows? Yeah, sure, those are all part of the story. But what if the real, fundamental answer isn't something you can find in a history book or a museum? What if the key to the whole thing is hiding in plain sight, right there on the map? That's the idea we're chasing today, that if you really want to understand Japan, you first have to understand its geography. The nation's whole story is, at its heart, a story of its land. The Japanese actually have a phrase for their own country, Hoso Nagai Shimaguni. It means long and narrow island country. And you know what? It's so much more than just a description. It's a statement of identity. It shows this deep awareness they have of their own unique geographical reality. A long, skinny country, shaped and defined by its limits from day one. Okay, so let's start with that basic fact. Japan isn't just one island. It's this huge archipelago of over 3,000 islands, stretching out in a big curve in the Pacific. Because it's surrounded by all that water, it's always been kind of separate from the Asian continent, and that gave its people a really distinct sense of who they were, and, at times, a feeling of total isolation. And this island geography, it created this incredible push and pull, a constant tension between having way too little of one thing and an endless supply of another. And that dynamic has pretty much dictated every aspect of Japanese life. Get this number in your head, 11.26%. That's it. That is the total amount of land in all of Japan that you can actually farm. The rest, it's almost all super rugged, steep mountains. Seriously, this one single fact is one of the most powerful forces in all of Japanese history. So that created this amazing contrast. On one hand, you have almost no usable land, which forced people into tiny farms and packed them into dense communities just to get by. But then, on the other hand, you have the boundless sea, a totally endless source of food that created this incredibly strong maritime culture. And the consequence of that is staring you right in the face today. With basically nowhere to spread out, people crammed into the few flat plains available. And that's how you get some of the most densely populated cities on the entire planet. I mean, in a place like Tokyo, they've pushed urban living to its absolute limit. All right, let's start our tour. We're heading way up north, to the wild north. This is Hokkaido and Tohoku. We're talking a land of brutal winters, vast untamed wilderness, and a history that is just incredibly deep and ancient. So you've got Hokkaido, which is Japan's northern frontier. It's got this immense natural beauty, but it is also bone-chillingly cold. Just south of that is Tohoku, which makes up the 6 northern prefectures of the main island. It's a region that's famous for its harsh, stunning landscapes, and crucially, its role as Japan's rice basket. The human story in this region goes back an incredibly long way. I mean, long before the Yamato Japanese, the majority group, ever arrived, Hokkaido was the home of the Ainu people. They are the indigenous people of this land. Their hunter-gatherer culture has roots stretching back 20,000 years, which makes their story a vital and honestly often overlooked part of Japan's identity. Okay, now we're heading south, right into the humming, thrumming heart of modern Japan, the Kanto and Shubu regions. This area is the undisputed power core. It's the engine room of the entire nation's economy, its government, and all its industry. The Kanto region is really defined by its huge plain. A whopping 45% of it is flat land, which is exactly why it became the center of power, home to the megalopolis of Tokyo. Right next door is Chubu, this rugged, mountainous region that's dominated by the Japanese Alps and, of course, Mount Fuji. But it's also home to the industrial beast that is Nagoya. This quote just nails the scenery perfectly. When you're riding the bullet train through here, you're not looking at ancient temples. No, you are witnessing the sheer, unbelievable scale of Japan's industrial might. Just an endless corridor of factories powering the nation. And all this density, it has a very human face. The iconic salaryman. We're talking millions of people living in these satellite cities who endure these crushingly long commutes into Tokyo every single day. It's a whole lifestyle that was born directly from the geographical squeeze of the Kanto Plain. So, from that modern engine room, we're now going to travel to its complete opposite, Welcome to Kansai, the region that really represents Japan's ancient heartland. This is its cultural soul. And this brings us to the legendary rivalry between Kanto and Kansai. Just think of it as a tale of two Japans. Kanto has Tokyo, the modern capital of government and finance, but Kansai has Kyoto and Nara, the ancient imperial capitals of culture and commerce. Even the way they talk is different. The Kanto dialect is seen as formal, standard, while the Kansai dialect is famous for being fast, direct, and just wonderfully informal. This is a part of the country that is just so proud of its heritage. It's the birthplace of so many things we think of as quintessentially Japanese, from the world-famous Kobe beef to the absolute finest sake. It's even home to these ancient burial mounds that are older than written history itself. Okay, for the final leg of our journey, we are heading way down to the tropical south, to Shikoku, Kyushu, and Okinawa. This is a part of Japan that honestly feels like it's a world away from Tokyo. It's a region of subtropical climates, active volcanoes, and histories that are completely their own. So what have we got? We have Shikoku, the smallest and most rural of the main islands. Then there's Kyushu, a land of fire and steam, with its active volcanoes and its history as Japan's front door to the outside world. And finally, the Okinawa island chain, which is a straight-up tropical paradise, but one with a story all its own. Here's a great example of how local geography can have this massive global impact. You know those powerful whirlpools off Shikoku's coast? Well, they directly inspired Naruto, one of the most popular manga and anime series in the world. And on a much more delicious note, the island is also the spiritual home of those thick, chewy udon noodles. Now, the story of Okinawa is particularly complex. For centuries, it was its own independent nation, the Ryukyu Kingdom. Then it was forcibly absorbed by Japan and later became the site of one of the most devastating battles of World War II. Today, its geography still dictates its modern reality, hosting a huge number of U.S. military bases, which are a source of both economic stability and constant tension. So from its food and its cities to its very identity, we've seen how Japan has been profoundly, deeply shaped by its geography. And that brings us to one last big question. In an age of incredible technology, how will a nation that's been so defined by its natural limits continue to reshape and maybe even overcome them in the future?